I want to talk about the main window. One of the things that makes Strike unique and loved by so many people is the ability to use it in a performance mode. Often you have drum VIs where you select parts and patterns, you just drag and drop them on the timeline and things like that. But with Strike, you can add an enormous amount of performance in and really get the reality of a drummer. So I'm going to go through this main window because this main window gives you access to stuff that's also under the hood that we'll look at later. But a very quick access to it, so you can actually, in a performance, be starting to adjust things. And so we'll go center out rather than from left to right. And the reason I'm doing that is because there are two settings which are really great in live performance. It's the intensity and the complexity settings. And they're actually mapped to your pitch wheel. I'm moving my pitch wheel now, my keyboard, and my mod wheel. And as you move them, you can see that the intensity goes up and down and the complexity goes up and down, doing both at the same time if I want. Which effectively means we can go through and we can change a performance. If we just start a performance going, start pushing up my mod wheel, as you can see the intensity drops. And you can preset that to a predetermined limit and then move between very quiet and that limit. At the same time we can also change the complexity, so we turn that down a minute with the intensity, go to pitch wheel, push it up, very basic, go to a chorus part. Now hear the ride going with more complexity. Very basic. And while that's actually playing, you can perform with it. For example, you could go into a fill and increase the intensity. Very, very nice. So both the intensity and complexity are mapped automatically to your modulation and your pitch wheel, and very useful when you're recording parts within Strike. So try those out. So we're going to go left to right now. At the top we've got the grid. Now it will work free unless you set it to the grid. What we mean by that is even if the complexity is very detailed here, we play again. That's now off grid. Now if we put the grid on to eighths or fourths, sounds like me playing the drums now. So there's some really quite interesting things you could do. There's the original again. Now the next thing is playing dynamics, and again, it could be all very, very flat or very varied. The dynamics are going up and down now. Then again, hit variation as well. Hear the snares changing. Let's go on with the cymbals again. You can hear that ride cymbal changing. We turn it right around this way. It's the same all the time. Now we can also change that. We can have it on every fourth, twos and fours, ones and threes. So you can see you can add quite a lot in there to really get a lot of performance in there. It sounds very, very natural and very real. So I'm going to leave that on 1 and 3 for now, turn it back a bit and keep the playing dynamics up as well. The next thing is timing. We can have very tight timing like a drum machine. Or very natural. A bit looser. And underneath that as well, we've got ahead and behind the beat. I think a rhythm like this, you want it to be a bit behind the beat. Now, anytime if you want to return anything back to its default position, press the Alt key on your keyboard and click on it. Now, next thing we can do as well is swing it. So let's put that back on again. And some very popular stuff like Cubase grooves. Logic grooves. And even MPC grooves as well. So lots of variation there. Next thing we have on this side as well, and this is all to do with timing and playing style. I'm going to put that back to off for now. Now, the next thing is the jam button. Now, if that's switched on, it will give you tiny variations in the playing over time. So if I play again, if I turn it off first, now they will play the same all the time. Now, if we switch the jam on, you can start to hear that the ride cymbal starts to vary. Now, depending on how high that is, the more variation you'll get. So again, if you want a lot of variation. Now on live drums that might be really good, but you might not want that on an electronic kit, for example. Well, I like that. Next is EQ. Kind of sort of very vintage sound. Probably had the room mics in for that as well. Turn the close mics back a bit. Alternatively, you could make it change completely and come this way. Get a very hi-fi sound. And as you can see now, we're moving the mics around. Much drier kit now. And that's your master volume. Then we have the dynamics. Kind of master compression. Like a really sucky kit. Let's move to the left now, and this is where we deal with the sounds again. So we can deal with things like the tuning of the whole kit. This is a master tuning, and each part can be done individually, and we'll look at that in a separate session. Let's try master tuning first. Then timbre shift. Just bring that back a bit again. Much softer playing now. You can now hear really slamming that snare. And now we're listening to that snare. You can change how that snare sounds. Right out towards the rim of the snare. The centre of the snare. Find one with a hi-hat playing now. Nice open hi-hats. Very tight closed ones. And the ride too. Bell, or right on the edge, or a bit of both. So there we are. The final thing is that sometimes you'll load a rhythm in and it might not be the right speed in terms of it's still the right tempo. So we could have something, let's load another one like American Funk. Let's just load that in for a second. Play the half speed. Or double speed. If you're doing some serious thrash metal. So there we are. That is the main window. As you can see, very useful for getting a really, really great and realistic performance and lots of variation into your sound. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next session.